Am I the a-hole for taking my nephew back to my sister's husband after she left him with me? My sister had her baby 6 months ago, and this morning she brought him to my apartment. It was 10 a.m. and I, 19 male, was half asleep. She asked me if I could watch him really quick because she had some stuff to do and call her if anything. He was asleep, so I said okay, but he woke up 20 minutes later crying. I gave him his bottle, and he was calm for a bit, but started crying again. I don't know what to do with babies, so I call my sister. She says she's still stuck running errands, but she'll try to be there soon. When I asked if Ted, her husband, could come get him, she said to leave him alone because he's busy with work at the house. Literally an hour later, and he's still screaming his head off. I tried looking up how to calm him down, so I'm rocking him, trying to play on the floor or showing him my phone, but nothing. He wasn't having it. I call my sister 2 more times. First time she tells me to give him his bottle, which I already did, and says she'll be here soon. Second time she tells me to relax, and she's almost done. Called her again 40 minutes later, but this time it goes to voicemail. Then I started to smell something bad, and it was because my nephew pooped in his diaper. Smell was awful, and I said hell no because I do not have it in me to change a soiled diaper. Nothing I did was making him stop crying. He was red in the face from crying all this time. I texted my sister telling her I was gonna take him to their house, but didn't get a reply. Ted was confused when I got there. I told him my sister said she had stuff to do and left him with me, but my nephew wouldn't stop crying. He has a dirty diaper and my sister won't answer me. Guys, he was so pissed off. He took my nephew and told me thank you for bringing him back. That was it. And when I got back home, my sister was calling me. She was flipping out asking why the hell did I took the baby back to their house when she told me not to. It's because she told Ted she was taking my nephew to her friend's house to have breakfast so her friend could see him, and now he's mad at her because obviously she didn't do that. My parents told me they're in the middle of a huge fight, and I should have stayed out of it and babysat my nephew. I don't know what's going on. All I know is Ted is not talking to her. My sister called me a couple of times to tell me stuff, and she can't believe I was such a horrible brother that I couldn't do one simple favor for her when she needed it. Now I'm feeling bad, and I don't know if I should have done different. Was I an a-hole for taking my nephew back instead of waiting for her to show up? Edit, since some of you are focused on the dirty diaper thing. Yeah, it makes me sick and want to puke just seeing my sister do it. Not gonna have kids because I'm not built for that stuff and wasn't gonna even try it with him. Also, he wasn't with a dirty diaper that whole time. Less than 15 minutes because as soon as I knew it was a dirty diaper, I drove him to their house. He definitely wasn't dirty before that because he was making a face when he did go, and that's when the bad smell came. Now for the top comments. Not a hole. Who lied to her husband? Your sister. Who lied to you? By omission? Your sister. Who did pick her phone when her baby was left with a babysitter? Your sister. Who's responsible for the situation? Your sister. I had a "It Was Agatha All Along" song running through my head reading this. And I cheated on my husband too. Not a-hole. Sounds like your sister is having an affair. Shame on her for putting you in the middle. Holy smokes. I didn't even think about that. Enjoy the waning innocence of utopia. The world and the adults who inhabit it are generally crap. Not a-hole. It sounds like your sister just got caught cheating on her husband. Neither the affair or her getting caught are your fault. Your parents are either being lied to about what happened or are a-holes for enabling your sister. You didn't insert yourself in this situation. Your sister dragged you in. My brother-in-law was seen kissing another woman at a bar one night, texted his wife the next day asking for a divorce, and spent the next several months swapping heart emojis on Facebook with the other woman, and my in-laws insisted didn't cheat. Some people just want to be delusional. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my pregnant sister after she accused my girlfriend of cheating? Years ago, I discovered my older sister, Lisa, was cheating on her fiancé. First, I confronted her about her affair, and she begged me to not reveal her affair to her fiancé as she was coming clean. I told her fiancé. He called off the engagement and broke up with her. She was very devastated about the whole ordeal and blames me for the failure of her relationships. My girlfriend, Anna, and I have been dating for 4 years. She's wonderful, and I cannot wait to marry her someday. My sister doesn't like my girlfriend, or rather, she's convinced that she's cheating on me. Every single interaction my girlfriend has with another man is, according to Lisa, is evidence of her infidelity. This is very obviously absurd, and has led to Anna and I distancing ourselves from Lisa and blocking her on all social media. Currently, my sister has a 3-year-old daughter and is pregnant with her second child. Her boyfriend recently got laid off, and she doesn't work. Unfortunately, they can't stay in their apartment right now, so they asked me if they could move in with us. My girlfriend was very sympathetic to their situation and agreed to have them stay with us. My niece adores Anna, and they get along well. Lisa wasn't making inappropriate comments directed at my comment. She wasn't insinuating that Anna was cheating on me. She was rather respectful, and I think my girlfriend and I really appreciate the change in attitude. A couple of days ago, Anna received the tragic news that her friend, Ben, unexpectedly passed away. Ben and Anna were very close friends, and they clearly held a lot of love for each other. Anna's very obviously devastated by his death, and though she's been very busy in trying to distract herself, I do want to give her time to properly grieve his death. At first, Lisa was being rather respectful, until she wasn't. Lisa asked a question about how they met, and Anna showed her a picture of the both of them in primary school. In the picture, Anna and Ben are holding hands, and Anna has a big grin on her face. Now, I don't know the backstory of this picture, but I know that it's not the smoking gun of my girlfriend's infidelity. From that point, she's been confronting me with useless proof. Lisa has been telling me to watch out for my girlfriend, questioning why she was so upset with Ben's death, why she still has pictures from where they were dating in primary school. Spoiler, they've never dated before. I told her to shut up. Lisa, while Ben's brother had come to visit Anna in our home, heavily insinuated that my girlfriend was an easy girl because she moved on from one brother to the next. This was extremely disrespectful, and so I yelled at her and kicked her out. Now I'm starting to feel guilty. My sister has nowhere to stay. My parents aren't very fond of her boyfriend, so staying with them isn't the best option, and Anna and my niece were having a great time. I'm starting to feel bad. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You made it clear to Lisa that her advice was unnecessary regarding Anna. She didn't get the message. If you want to be nice, give her one more opportunity so that she can work it out. Because there is a child in the mix. Make it absolutely clear that what Anna does or does not do regarding your relationship has absolutely nothing to do with her. And any comment regarding Anna will result in you asking her to leave in next days. It's a shame. I think bonding with my niece was putting a good smile on Anna's face. That's another reason I didn't want to kick them out. Not the a-hole. So the boyfriend can't get along with your parents and your sister can't get along with your partner. I'd say they are the problem. You don't need that disrespect in your own home. I know. I feel really bad for Anna though. She doesn't need all this right now. Not the a-hole. Hey, your sister made her bed. Now she can sleep in it. Just not in your house. Not the a-hole. Sounds like your sister is projecting hard, or she wants to make others feel as miserable as she does. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I don't know how to help her and I don't want to get involved when she suggested stuff? My sister, 32 female, got married in August. She has 2 kids, ages 11 and 10, while her husband has a child who is 8. My sister and her husband were dating for 4 years, and the kids were introduced a year in. Back when they were still in those early stages, my niece and nephew told her they didn't want a step family. She took them to therapy, and then about 6 months later brought her husband, then boyfriend, in. The kids did not have a change of heart, and my sister decided they would just need to deal. And so she moved in with him, they got engaged, and then during the pandemic they got married in what was supposed to be them and the kids. But my niece and nephew ended up with my parents because they didn't want to go to the wedding. It broke my sister's heart. I remember talking to them the day before the wedding about it and asking them why they were so against it. And they explained they didn't want a stepdad or a step-sibling, and they didn't know why it couldn't be just them. I told them he made their mom happy, and if he was nice to them, maybe they could not call him stepdad, but still give him and his son a chance to be people they care about. It didn't work, obviously. Since that point, nothing has changed. They resist spending time as a family, and they resist time with just stepdad/stepbrother. And my sister is frustrated and angry because her husband is not happy that his son feels left out and unwanted. Their marriage has hit some hurdles. She talked to the kids and asked them why they were so resistant. And they said it's because they don't like or love either of them and that they don't need them. My sister came to me and asked me to help, and I told her honestly that I didn't know what I could do. She told me I could get a little firmer with them, and since they trust and listen to me, as well as confide in me about this stuff more easily, that I could add pressure to make them come around. I told her I did not want to get involved like that it could end up hurting my relationship with them if they feel like I've turned against them. I said I honestly think they will just need to talk it out with therapists, and whatever ends up happening, happens, and I don't know that anything we can do really change it. She told me I wasn't a very good aunt and sister if that's how I feel, and how I respond when asked to help something that is very important. I offered that I could maybe try to encourage it more gently again, and she told me that was the same as doing nothing. I do feel bad. I just honestly think that pushing has not helped any relationship so far. They're not as close to my sister or my parents because they came down harder on them. And if they feel isolated from everyone, it could easily discourage them wanting to try because who knows what resentment could build. So now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Stuff like this is hard for kids. And you should never be in a position where you have to fear losing the good relationship to them because of your sister's choices. I know this is off topic now, but for me it seems like she rushed this decision without giving enough space for her children to express their feelings, so now they wall up against everything. And I think it's not your job nor responsibility to fix this now and give your niece and nephew the feeling of everyone being against them. Staying as neutral as possible here is probably the best. Good luck. Not Dayhall. I think your sister is trying to place a completely unreasonable burden on you. As you say, the real risk here is damaging your existing relationship with your niece and nephew. You can continue to try your gentle approach and anything else you feel comfortable doing. Not Dayhall. OP, maybe because your sister's kid seems to like and respect you so much, you could lead by example and develop a relationship with stepson. Make a point of spending some time with him each time you visit. Play a game that he likes, etc., and the other two will eventually follow. They'll want to know what cool auntie finds so interesting about this kid. Good luck, Opie. You're doing great so far. That has actually never helped. We've been developing a relationship slowly over time, and I have tried to make it seem interesting to the kids. But no dice. It will eventually, if you take the little boy out for ice cream or to a park or whatever. There's no obligation on you. But if you do want to help, Above's suggestion does seem to be the best idea. You just build a positive relationship with the boy, and if the older kids want to participate, they'll have to be civil. If they'd rather stay home than participate because the little boy is there, let them. Don't force it. The little boy will get extra attention that might help him while his older step-siblings are acting poorly. That's what they do. Before COVID and stuff happened, step-nephew and I had spent some time together. I'm saying step-nephew to make it more clear who I'm talking about to others. We do ice cream or pizza occasionally, and my niece and nephew never wanted to come. They never wanted to join us for Mario Kart or the park. Not saying it might never work, but I don't see it as something that will get them interested. No matter who is involved. Yet, when it's just them and me, they jump at the chance. Last story is titled, Would I be the a-hole if I kick my brother and his wife out even though I know they can't support themselves and their newborn baby? Okay, so this is complicated to me. So I, 23 male, am kicking my brother, 25 male, out at the start of the month. A little backstory. My brother and his wife, 23 female, who is pregnant at the time, were kicked out of her mom's house back in September of 2020. My brother asked if he could move in with my wife, 22 female, and me for a few months while he got another job and made enough to get a place for him and his family. I was okay with it, so he moved in with his wife. I set them up in the living room on a fold-out couch. As months went by, he didn't find a job, but kept saying he was looking for one, and he had no way to get to any interviews. He and his wife refused to clean the house, and make such a mess that my wife was becoming increasingly frustrated with him. I offered to take him to work. All I ask is for him to find something. anything. Even the simple ones like fast food restaurants, because a job is better than no job, right? I kept reminding him that his baby is on the way and get a job. Well, my nephew was born in January, and he still hasn't gotten a job. After I kept persisting, did he actually make an attempt at finding one? After 5 months. He worked for a month with hardly any problems and was paying rent finally. So when I asked him how much longer it would be till he was ready to move out, he said he wasn't sure because he was buying a car. This did not bother me because he needed it to get to work without me taking him there. It gave me a break. The problem really came when he got the car. He started to not go to work. Instead, he would drive all day and night and sleep when it was time to work. I asked him what was going on, and all he could say was, "Don't worry, I still have a job," and then shut me down every time I persisted. Well, a week ago I was at work and my wife called me on the phone saying I needed to get home immediately because my brother cussed her out. I get home and my wife explained that she said she's worried they aren't saving any money, and he started cussing her out saying, "Don't count my pockets." I told him I will count your pockets anytime I feel, because I need to make sure he leaves like he said he would. He told me to go screw myself. If he doesn't want to let me know how much money he is saving back then, he needs to set a date to leave and stick with it. He said to give him till the end of the month. I agreed. So he is scheduled to leave at the beginning of the month. But I know for a fact he will not have enough money to get into a place or take care of their newborn baby. So I guess what I'm asking is, am I the a-hole if I kick my brother and his wife out, even though I know they won't be able to support themselves and the baby? Edit. My wife agreed to have them move in. She thought it would be okay to help. She views my brother as an older brother, though we both slowly started to resent him and his behavior over time. She lost faith in them quicker than I did. I came to their defense longer than I should have. Not day-hole. If you don't kick them out, they will never, and I mean never, leave. They'll always have an excuse. Don't feel bad for wanting them to move out. You were generous enough to let them stay for a few months, and now their time's up. Also, they decided to have a child, so now they need to step up and be responsible adults. I agree. I feel like I am financially taking on the responsibility of the baby. I spent over $1,500 to make sure my brother had everything the baby needed. Yeah, they're definitely taking advantage of your generosity. Just do what you feel is best for you. Not a-hole, but your brother absolutely is for putting his family in this situation. This is entirely on him. It makes me wonder why they were kicked out of their last place, and if there are mental health or addiction issues at play. You set the boundaries you need to. You are not in the wrong. I agree with you. However, addiction is not one of the issues. He sleeps and plays video games all day. But recently, when getting his car, has been on the road. I don't know where he goes. I was just curious, since his behavior sounds odd. But some people are just selfish and irresponsible. I want to add, it was kind of you to let them stay with you as long as you did. Please don't feel guilty that there are consequences to your brother's choices. If I didn't know him as well as I do, that would have been a really good guess. Thank you for your support and advice. It means a lot.
Am I the a-hole for saying in public that my husband is the infertile one? Plus update. Original post. English is not my language. My husband, I call him James 35 male, and I 30 female. We have been trying for a baby for a few months. We can't get pregnant, so we went to the doctor. And when the results came, it revealed that my husband is infertile. We were sad, but lived with that, and we're thinking about other options like adopting a child. Yesterday, we went to have lunch with his family, his parents and 4 siblings and their respective families. The topic of kids was brought to the table, and my husband said we can't have children of our own, so we are thinking of other alternatives. Then my mother-in-law, I know she doesn't love me, but she was always polite, said, "Oh my boy, you should find another woman. You know, one who is really a woman. I know you want kids, and I really want to meet my grandkids. I can find a pretty infertile woman for you." It was very awkward, really awkward, and she said it with that poisonous tone that I hate. I thought my husband was going to defend me, but he just gave a little laugh, which made me angrier. In that moment, I looked mother-in-law dead in the eye and told her, "Pick up your words and say that to me." She looked confused and asked what I meant, and I told her, "You need to say that to me, that I need to find a man who is really a man, so I can have a child. I won't be mad if you find me a better and fertile man." I said it with a smirk smile. The table went dead silent, and my sister-in-law asked, "You mean that my brother is the infertile one?" I said, "Yes, and I will be so pleased if y'all find me a fertile man. Then in 1 week I can get pregnant, maybe with triplets." I said, laughing, "You know that my uterus is perfect, so it maybe could be quadruplets," I said, sounding more excited. The table went completely silent, and my husband's and mother-in-law's faces went pale. In that moment, I stood up, got my bag, and took an Uber home. About an hour later, James stormed into the house yelling at me for exposing him in that way. I yelled back that he let my mother-in-law humiliate me, so he had no reason to be mad. In that moment, I told him that I need a man who is really a man, not just fertile, a man who stands up for me when people are talking trash about me. He's sleeping in the guest room. I'm very mad and thinking of divorce. I can't be with a person who let his parents humiliate me in that way. It was pretty awful, and words can't express the way my mother-in-law said those words. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Good for you for standing up for yourself. When I read she told her husband she needs a real man, not just a fertile one, but one who stands up for her when she's being given grief, I whooped. She's the husband she deserves. And if she's already so familiar with the venom of her mother-in-law's tone, then it's happened too many times without being shut down. And for her to have the audacity to say that crap in public with the expectation OP wouldn't speak back? No one in that family has ever had OP's back. OP, this might be something that is part of your culture, but that doesn't make it right for you to be treated like a womb and nothing else. Leave this clown in the whole circus of a family and go find joy in your future. Maybe you'll even find a husband who will be a man in every way for his wife. Thank you. He went this morning out of the house and said that he's going to talk to me when he gets back. Now the idea of a divorce is growing in my mind. And about my mother-in-law's comments, you are right. She makes little comments every time I see her. But this one wasn't little. Thank you for the support. Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law is a nasty woman, and you returned her words to her when your husband didn't defend you. If he had told her she was out of line or shut down her poisonous behavior, you wouldn't have needed to say anything. They both got what they deserved. Oh my God, yes. I was hoping for him to say something like, "Don't talk in that way about my wife," or "You have no right." But he didn't. Now for the update. First of all, thank you all for the support and advice. Second, like a lot of you said, it's not the first time my mother-in-law made comments to me, but they were passive-aggressive ones, not like this. She always finds something wrong with my clothes, hair, makeup, cooking, car, literally everything. I talked with my husband a lot of times about it, but he brushes it off. The worst is my sister-in-law, because before me, my husband used to date her best friend, and she is still hurt by the breakup. I have nothing to do with it. Third, for all those who said that my answer was bad and nasty, I know that I may have answered kind of aggressively, but mother-in-law told my husband to get a new wife, and none of you were there to know how things happened. And obviously, I humiliated James. Because the actual reason I got so mad was that he laughed about someone disrespecting me. Now the update. He came home about an hour ago and we had a short but intense conversation/fight. He said he feels very humiliated about me thinking he is less of a man because he can't have children. I told him that his mother humiliated me too, and he didn't feel bad at all. He said that in the moment he didn't know how to react. I told him, maybe by saying that she doesn't have any right to talk about me in that way and insinuate things. He went silent, and I told him that this isn't about the fact he can't have kids. It's about the fact that he lets people disrespect me, just so his masculinity doesn't get hurt. It's about how he always minimizes the bad comments his family makes about me. He said that he is sorry for that, but his family is very important, and he will not be disrespecting them. I said, I am your family too, and you let people disrespect me, so your words have no value. He stayed silent, and I told him, you are not the man for me. You are not the one to get older with, because you are a weak mommy's boy, and I need a man who knows my value and grows apart from his family. I told him I want a divorce and to pack his things. He said that we can go to counseling. I said that we can better save that money for divorce proceedings. He packed his things and left, and tomorrow I will get a lawyer. I am hurt. Of course I am, but I know that I deserve better. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my girlfriend's half of dinner after she invited her whole family without telling me? So my girlfriend and I had planned what I thought would be a simple, casual dinner date. I made a reservation at a nice restaurant. Nothing too extravagant, but definitely special enough for us to have a quiet evening together. I imagined good food, maybe a glass of wine, and some time to really connect without distractions. When I arrived at the restaurant, though, I realized immediately that things weren't going to go as planned. Sitting at the table with her were not just my girlfriend, but also her parents, her brother, and even one of her cousins. I was completely caught off guard. No one had mentioned it beforehand, and she hadn't told me that our date night was going to turn into a full-blown family dinner. I didn't want to make a scene or ruin the mood, so I went along with it, even though I felt uncomfortable from the start. The evening itself was fine on the surface. Her family made small talk. We ordered a lot of food, and everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking about how different this was from what I had agreed to. Instead of spending quality time with my girlfriend, I was now essentially hosting her entire family without any warning. Then the bill arrived. The total was just under $400. Without saying a word, my girlfriend slid the check over to me and looked at me expectantly, clearly assuming I would cover it all. That's when I drew the line. I told her calmly that I was more than happy to pay for my meal and hers, since that's what I had agreed to when we made the plan. But I wasn't prepared to bankroll her entire family's night out. The reaction was immediate. She looked upset and accused me of not being a real man because, in her words, a real man wouldn't hesitate to take care of the bill. Her mother chimed in, making a snide remark about me being cheap. The atmosphere at the table changed instantly. It was tense and awkward. I stuck to my decision. I paid for myself and my girlfriend, but left the rest of the bill to be split among her family members. She ended up having to contribute as well, which clearly embarrassed her in front of them. Afterward, she told me I had humiliated her and made her look bad. Her family now thinks I'm rude and inconsiderate. From my perspective, I feel completely blindsided. I never agreed to take her whole family out, and I don't think it's fair to be expected to cover such a large expense without warning. A couple's dinner date and a family gathering are two very different things, and I would have prepared differently if I had known. Now I'm stuck wondering, did I do the wrong thing by refusing to pay for everyone? Or was it unreasonable for her to expect me to handle such a big bill on my own? Am I the a-hole? Your girlfriend is rude and entitled. So is her family. What are you doing? Yeah, I hear you guys. I don't think it was about the money as much as it was about respect. I'm always down to treat my partner, but being blindsided with her whole family and then being told a real man should just pay felt more about testing boundaries than anything else. I don't want to be in a relationship where generosity gets taken for granted or turned into an expectation. That's why I drew the line. This is a red flag, bub. The gotcha of the situation, expecting you to pay. The guilt trip and real man comment. Lose that baggage. Yeah, it was a total power move. Her trying to establish how things were going to go down for the future. Not the a-hole. That real man comment was gross from her. Does she normally act like that? If so, why are you with her? Yeah, that real man line really hit me wrong. I don't think relationships should be about testing each other or using labels like that. Respect matters way more than outdated expectations. What relationship? Why are you still there? Fair point. At this stage, it's less of a relationship and more of a reality check. That dinner told me everything I needed to know about where this was heading. Next story. Am I the a-hole? My mother refuses to acknowledge my spinal cord injury isn't fixable, and I've finally snapped at her. Basically what the title says, I, 17 female, broke my back just over 2 years ago. My spinal cord suffered severe damage, and it has left me physically disabled. I can stand on my own and walk short distances, but doing so often puts me in excruciating pain. Over the last 2 years, I have had 3 surgeries to try to repair the damage. And while they have lessened pain in some areas, the full injury cannot be repaired. My mother, 55 female, refuses to accept this, and over the last 2 years has pushed me into more and more treatments, even if I didn't want them, claiming every time that this would be the one that cured me. Both I and my father have tried to tell her that the nerve damage is permanent, and that the best course of action is to simply try to preserve my back, so I retain mobility as I get older, which is what 3 separate doctors have advised. My mother won't listen to us. She's become obsessed with trying to fix me and get me back to my old self. She keeps signing me up for treatments and programs without asking or after I've already said no. These treatments are usually exercise-based, holistic/natural remedies, or even still experimental procedures, and most of them have only ever left me sore if not injured. She also refuses to let me have any accommodations. I can't use a cane, wheelchair, or anything else around her, and often refuses to let me sit or lay down when I'm in pain. Over the last 1.5 years, my condition has been deteriorating, but my mother acts like she hasn't noticed, just keeps booking my usual doctor's appointments. Now it's gotten to the point where she insists on being in the doctor's office with me because she believes I won't give reliable information about my symptoms if I go in alone. Tonight I just couldn't take it anymore and broke down crying, telling her to stop trying to fix me and just help. I begged her to stop pushing me and to just try to accept that I'm not able-bodied anymore, but she wasn't having it. She told me that if Paralympic athletes could do it, so could I. That I had to stop making excuses, and that she only wanted what was best for me. I understand that denial is part of the grieving process, but I've already accepted it, and I just don't know what to do anymore. I've tried to be understanding, but she's really driving me to the end of my rope. So am I the a-hole for snapping at her? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. This seems like medical abuse. She won't let you use a cane or wheelchair? That's insane, OP. You deserve so much better. And why in the hell is OP's father allowing his wife to abuse her like this? Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your dad needs to step up and tell your mom to knock it off. He needs to either make her listen or make her back off and leave you alone, rather than just throwing up his hands and saying, "Welp, I tried." No, he needs to say, "You are hurting our child because you refuse to accept the advice of 3 different doctors. This stops now." OP needs to be accommodated for their injuries and allowed to use assistive devices and lay down when they hurt. My dad is trying. They've gotten into a lot of arguments about it, and he's even refused to take me to treatments she's scheduled because I didn't want to go. The problem is just that my mom won't listen, and aside from removing me from the house for short periods, there isn't much he can do. He's gotten me accommodations behind my mom's back, but we don't have all that many options. Last story. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my children's relationship over my wife's preference? I have 1 son with my ex-wife and 3 kids with my current wife. My oldest is 19, the other kids are 13, 12, and 6, all boys except for the 12-year-old. My oldest traveled overseas during summer break, but there was a 2-week period where he was at school but had no class and no commitments, and he wanted us to come visit him. I said that we would go, and when I told my wife, she was annoyed I committed without asking her. I said we didn't have plans. She said I couldn't know that for sure without asking her. I said if there are plans I don't know about, surely that means she made a commitment without asking me. That argument fizzled out. However, she later informed me we were invited to go on a trip with some friends that would overlap, and she wanted to go on the trip. I said we already had plans. She said she never agreed to the plans, and the argument resumed. Eventually, I said she could do whatever she wanted, but the kids and I were going to fly out to visit my son. I said it's important for them to spend time together, so they continue to have a good relationship now that he's an adult, and we probably won't see him as much. She said I know she hates California, where his school is, and it's insensitive for me to just assume she's okay with going. I told her if she doesn't want to go, don't go. I'll go alone with the kids. She didn't want that, and the fight got intense, so I said we should ask the kids what they want to do. When we asked the kids, she really talked up her vacation plan and poo-pooed going to California, but the kids wanted to see their brother. She still didn't want me to take them after that, and we continued to argue about it right up until the kids and I left. We had a great trip. Ever since we returned from the trip, she has been frosty towards me. Last week, she dropped the bombshell of wanting to do couples counseling. I agreed, and we just found someone and made an appointment for September. All my friends say the counseling is a bad sign, divorced and married alike. I guess I just want to know what I'm in for. Am I going to go in and immediately get roasted for my actions? Ultimately, I love my wife, and I love my kids, and I want my kids to have a good relationship with each other. Is that so bad? I think you made the right decision. Your children come first, always. Your wife has to learn she can't throw a hissy fit and get her own way all the time. Counseling is a good idea. If you get a good counselor, they will explain this to her. If you're not getting along with a counselor, try a different one. You both have to feel comfortable and heard by this person. Best of luck. This person is supposed to be really good. They have a lot of great reviews. Not all the reviews were actually encouraging, but they were all positive. As many people wrote, Dr. X helped me and my spouse realize we weren't compatible anymore. As wrote, Dr. X helped us get our relationship back on track. Obviously, that freaked me out a bit. In my opinion, that is a sign of a good therapist. It means they are listening to each of you and not trying to railroad someone into agreeing.